Hello world. So last week I was talking with one of my students, one of my music students at college, and he was asking me advice about cameras. He wanted to know what was a good camera to get. He wants to start making videos to go with his music. He hasn't made any music yet, but he wants to get the right camera so that he can start making videos. He was asking me advice about that, and then that kind of led on to what software to use, and then we started talking about music and what kind of gear he might need, and which DAW to use, and so on and so on and so on. And these were all useful things that he wanted to know about, and he was very interested in. But ultimately, the conversation started to turn to, or in the direction of, that really what he needed to do was just start making music now. And that he didn't need to wait until he got the right software. He didn't need to wait till he got the right camera or the right piece of equipment or the right sampler or whatever. He was talking about working with different producers and finding the right producer. But ultimately, he doesn't need to do that either. He just needs to start making the music himself. He's got a lot of ideas stored up, lots of lyrics. And, you know, he kind of feels this need to get them out, but is delaying his start. I said ultimately you need to find your own way of working, and you need to sort of refine that process, and you just need to start making music, and you'll get there. You'll find your own way of working. And so that's kind of got me thinking, and that's sort of what I want to talk about in this video today. Is, you know, this idea that sometimes we might delay starting something, delay a creative practice, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for the right piece of gear, or waiting to feel confident about something, and ultimately that thought is not going to serve us well. And so, you know, why do we do that? And well, there's probably lots of reasons, but one of the reasons is that we want to maximize our chances of success, and we want this thing that we're going to embark on to be successful. And if you are a 19-year-old music student, your idea of success is probably lots of money and fame and fortune and all the rest of it. Eventually, perhaps, maybe having a career in the music industry, maybe getting on a playlist, maybe being picked up by a record label, maybe getting lots of followers and fans. But the idea being that, you know, if everything's perfect and you can produce the perfect track or the perfect couple of tracks with a decent video, that people will start flocking to you. So we have this idea of what success is, and maybe that is, in order to sort of maximize that is what holds us back from starting. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. But before I do, I would just like to invite you to hit the like button if you enjoy watching this video, and if you watched some of these videos before and you enjoy what I have to say in them, then of course please hit the subscribe button. I know there's probably a lot of people out there watching these videos, which is really, really great, but not everyone is subscribed to the channel. I think about 60% of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. So if you are interested in what I'm talking about, which, you know, tends to be a lot about creativity, but also about modular synth and all of that, then, you know, please do hit the subscribe button. Anyway. Let's continue. So, where did I get up to? We've all been there. You know, we've all had this idea of wanting to do something, but felt we needed something else to be in place before we could start. And that something might be, you know, the perfect piece of gear. It might be a certain piece of software. It might be needing a band around you. It might be having a feeling of confidence before you can do a performance. There's all sorts of things. It might be that you need more time. It might be that you need more money. All sorts of things that we put in place as excuses for not starting a project. And again, that's because we want that thing that we do, we want it to be perfect from the outset, and we want it to have the highest chance of success. And the truth of the matter is that neither of those things are important? Well, they are, but they're not important in the way that we think they are. So if we think of success, first of all, what does it mean to be successful as a musician? Does it mean earning lots of money? Does it mean walking down the street being recognised by people? Does it mean having millions of subscribers on YouTube? It might do. It might mean all of those things. But what are all of those things tied to? Well, those are sort of measures of success that come from a societal or cultural idea of a strong work ethic and being well off and being able to provide for yourself and live in luxury. But is that really success? Maybe not. And it could be argued that success really is about happiness and about being comfortable. It's about sort of waking up in the morning and feeling good about yourself and good about what you do. That is probably more important to success rather than any kind of monetary or recognition or any of those things. And if you are somebody who is a musician or any kind of artist really, and you derive some sort of success from that, then just being able to do that thing, because that will probably provide you with happiness and good mental health if you can continue to follow that practice. So, maybe being successful, if we can think of being successful as being happy, being comfortable, and being able to pursue your creative endeavors, whatever they may be, whether it's making videos or making bleeps and bloops and magic noises, that is the most important thing. And if you can sustain a living, and it doesn't really matter whether that living is related to the art or not, but if you can sustain yourself and you can do what you want to do, then you are successful. And probably if you can make music that you're happy with, then you're successful. And that kind of leads on to the idea of being perfect as well. So that's another thing that might hold people back from producing work, is because they want it to be good and they want it to be perfect, and they hold it up to some kind of standard that has been set by the art that they've consumed or the music that they listen to or whatever it may be, and they want it to be as good as that. But unfortunately, in the beginning, like anything, like any pursuit, you're probably going to be bad at it to start with. And no amount of delaying or waiting for the right moment is going to change that. The first things that you do will probably not be very good. Or they'll be, even if they are good, they might not be very original. Okay, and so that reminds me of a quote which I've got on my phone here. If I can find it and read it. So this is a quote from someone called Ira Glass, who I believe is a writer. I'll just read it out. What nobody tells people who are beginners, and I really wish someone had told me, is that all of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But there is this gap. For the first couple of years, you make stuff, and it's just not that good. It's trying to be good, it has potential, but it's not. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. And your taste is why your work disappoints you. A lot of people never get past this phase. They quit. Most people I know who do interesting creative work went through years of this. We know our work doesn't have this special thing that we want it to have. We all go through this. And if you're just starting out or you're still in this phase, you've got to know it's normal. And the most important thing you can do is do a lot of work. Put yourself on a deadline so that every week you will finish one story. It is only by going through a volume of work that you will close that gap, and your work will be as good as your ambitions. I took longer to figure out how to do this than anyone I've ever met. It's going to take a while. It's normal to take a while. You just got to fight your way through. Okay, so yeah, I came across that text a long time ago, and I've always kept it on my phone, and whatever phone I've had, it's always been on there, just as a reminder for those times when you're sort of feeling a little bit bad about yourself because you think what you've done isn't very good. That's part of the process, and that's normal. And the fact that you are doing some work, the fact that you are doing some music, that you're doing some kind of art, that it means you are successful because you're doing it. Okay, somebody who is sitting there not doing it, waiting to start, they are not successful. You are. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be the most amazing thing. It just needs to be. And of course, like all pursuits, mastery comes with time. The more time that you spend working on something, the more time that you spend doing the thing that you're doing, then the more skills you'll get, the more your confidence grows, and the better you will be at creating whatever it is that you're doing. And slowly over time, people will recognize that. But you'll never get to that stage where people are recognizing you without going through that process first. And really, that whole thing of like recognition and monetary reward and so on, that's a side effect. That's something that you get, but really that shouldn't be the goal. The goal should be just to do the thing, do the music. What I'm trying to say then is that if you're wanting to be successful, and if you're wanting to start something but you're putting it off and you're waiting for the right time, you just need to start. You just need to crack on and get going, and accept that what you're going to do in the beginning is not going to be that great, but over time you'll get better at it. The other thing, I guess, that is worth sort of thinking about is that the thing that you do, or the thing that you end up getting good at, might not be what you expect it to be when you start out, and that slowly over time, you will discover your own creative thing, your own way of working. And if I think about myself, I probably worked or spent a lot of time trying to do something in a certain way and tried to make music in a certain way, and never really getting anywhere with that. Because it didn't I never felt satisfied with it, and it didn't really gel with what I was trying to do. But then upon discovering modular synth and sort of working with that, which was really kind of by accident, I then found a way of working that did sort of fit with me and allow me to do what I wanted to do and to keep doing it. And the more that I've worked at that, I have grown the confidence to share that, and that the output of this channel is the result of that, I guess. So it's not always the case that what you think you're going to do in the beginning is what you end up doing, but that doesn't mean to say that you're not successful. And do I consider myself successful? At this point in time, I do, because it doesn't really matter how many people watch these videos or how many people listen to the music. I enjoy doing it, and I can do it whenever I want, and I can do it all the time if I want to. So, in that respect, I think I've achieved a certain amount of success and happiness around that. So, having decided that you want to do a thing, and you're willing to accept that it might not be that brilliant, what can you do? Well, I guess small goals are always useful in the beginning, just to try and set yourself a little goal of doing something. Maybe make a demo, or make one video, get one thing together that you can share with one other person and show somebody that can give you some feedback. That might be a good starting point. It doesn't really matter, but something that's easy to do in the beginning will help. That will help you achieve that success or that early success that you're looking for. If you are a modular synth person and that is the thing that you're wanting to do, then it's not so easy to get going in the beginning because it's expensive. But there are ways that you can start doing things more easily. So you could be using VCV to start off with, because that's free and you can learn a lot about modular synth through VCV and tutorials online. You might just get hold of like just 3 modules to begin with that you can do something with, and just create a simple voice out of just a few modules and play around with that, and then slowly over time add to it. But it's all about trying to use what you already have to hand, or what you can access quite easily. And it doesn't matter that you don't have everything that you think you need straight away. It's quite a well documented phenomenon that limitation and constraint breeds creativity. So the less choice that you have, the more creative you're likely to be. And so, if you think you need all this stuff in the beginning to do some amazing creative work, well, then you probably don't, because having less stuff will force you to think outside of the box, and it will force you to think differently about what you're going to do. But that's okay, because we've all had to start somewhere. Everyone who has ever made anything had to start somewhere, had to start from scratch. But most of the time, as the public, we don't get to see that. We don't get to see the journey of that person. If you think of all the greats throughout history, we don't get to see their failures, and we don't get to see their journey as they became those great creative people. We just see the end result. And success isn't about giant leaps. It's about small steps that you can take every single day. So just trying to do something consistently every single day, if you can, is probably the most important thing. And the other thing is to try not to sort of listen to that little nagging voice in the back of your mind that will tell you that you don't know what you're doing, and that what you're doing is not right, and that it's no good. We all get that too. Imposter syndrome is something that many creative people feel or have felt. And for some people it can be very, very difficult and very hard, and that might be something I do on a separate video, but I know I have had to deal with that, and still do to this day, constantly telling myself that I'm not good enough to be doing what I'm doing, and constantly waiting for somebody to tap me on the shoulder and say, "Excuse me, you're going to have to stop doing this now, because this isn't for you. You're not good enough to do this." But that never happens. So that's something that is difficult to battle with, and as I say, I might do a separate video on that at some point. But it is a struggle, and it is a battle to get through that. But you have to just keep pushing through and just keep putting the work out there. And I think that that's something I spoke about in another video. This idea of sort of quantity over quality, or quality from quantity. And the more stuff that you can put out there, the more you can create and keep making, the better you get at what you're doing. But ultimately, it is a journey, and it is a journey that can be unpredictable, and you won't always know where things are going to lead you. You might think that you're going to go in a particular direction at the beginning, but by the end of it, you could be somewhere completely different. And that is just the way things work. And that's part of what makes it enjoyable, is that you don't know where you're going to end up with all of this. It's just about enjoying that process and taking the journey, really. And all of these things, very, very kind of cliched, but that the destination's not important, it's the journey. Quite often there is no destination. You're just going, you're just creating for the sake of it. It doesn't really matter what the end goal is, because the end goal isn't really the end. There'll be another one after that, and another one after that, and so on and so forth. It's just keeping going. Hello. So if the most important thing then is to just get started and get going, and not to worry about perfection and success and all the rest of it, how can we, or what are some useful ideas or tips to help with that? So something, and that's part of the reason why I do this YouTube channel myself, is to give myself some kind of deadline or target or something to aim at. So I know that I have to try and get these videos out every week, and then that 30-day challenge that I've been doing, I've been trying to get a video out every single day, and ultimately it doesn't matter if I do or I don't, but I've set myself a little goal that I'm going to try and do that. So I've set myself my little challenge, and it's trying to then stick to that, irrespective of whether it's any good or not. So this video is maybe a classic example. Halfway through making this video, I had a phone call to go and pick up my daughter from preschool. She wasn't feeling very well, so I've had to stop and do that, and very quickly now I'm just trying to do the end. So I'm still going to put the video out. I know that it's not going to be perfect, but try to practice what you preach, as they say. So I'll put the video out irrespective. But yeah, so having some kind of little goals that you can try and adhere to, so you can try and create some sort of regular practice, is very helpful. The other thing to do is to just try and record everything that you do. Get into the habit of recording, whether that's in video form, audio form, writing things down, but just recording everything that you do, because you never know when that's going to be useful. And likewise, with those videos that I'm doing, the 30-day challenge thing, some of those videos, I'm sure some of the music in them is not that great, but I've recorded them anyway and put them out there, because you never know if that might spark something in the future and might be useful for something in the future. And then maybe the final little tip is to, and this is where YouTube is great, is to find some kind of like supportive community where you can share what you're doing, where people are going to offer you advice or encouragement or feedback or whatever it may be, that will help a little bit to bolster your confidence. And for me, I've found YouTube to be very supportive, but it could be some other platform that you find is helpful. But it's something where you can share what you're doing, and people are going to encourage you to keep going, basically. So just to finish off then, just remember, there is no perfect moment. The perfect moment is right now. Start with what you've got, start with where you are, start with what you know, just get started. Remember, the first step is always the hardest, and after that it's just keeping going. So if you are somebody out there that is waiting to start something, let me know in the comments what is the project that you are wanting to do, and can you get started today? Can you get started this week? What can you do to move that forward and set things in motion to get it going? And of course, if you're somebody who has already started something, or you are doing something right now, then let me know what that is, and how did you overcome that sort of hesitation to begin, if you felt that you had that. What advice do you have for other people? Let me know in the comments there. Just try and remember as well that success is not about all those extraneous things. It is about just doing the thing. And if you are doing what you want to do, if you are creating music, doesn't matter how many people listen to it, if you are doing it, then you are successful. So keep going. Okay, well, I think that is the end of this video. If you have thoughts or comments on that, I'd love to hear them. I'd love to read them in the comments below. So please do put a comment in. If you've enjoyed this video or found it useful, then of course hit the like button. And if you want to see more of these videos, hit the subscribe button. As I said earlier, I know there's a lot of people out there watching the videos who aren't subscribed, so it's always good to let me know that you are enjoying this content. If you want to hit the subscribe button. If you found this video interesting, then you might find one of my other videos interesting about quality and quantity, and you can click the box which is there to watch that video next. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Cheerio.